What is up, everybody? I'm Mav. I'm here with Matt. What's going on, bud?
Good to see you as always, sir. How you doing?
I'm glad to see you. I'm sorry that you're with us, but I'm glad that you're with us. If you know what I mean by that. So
I
what I
don't.
mean by that, the reason you had so Matt is a very integral part of this show and this podcast, and he hasn't he's been maybe an absentee dad the past couple of days or a couple of episodes, but that's only because the Miracle Mets were in the playoffs. And Maddie works for the Miracle Mets, and now the Miracle Mets are not in the playoffs. So that's why I'm sad that you're here because they lost, but I'm glad that you're here because they lost.
It was
So
a great run, man. You
yeah.
got to give it to those guys. And I was there on the morning of that last game they had at Citi Field, seeing
Hmm.
those players come in with their faces. I
Yeah.
mean, they wanted it. It was a tough one, but hey, no one expected that. So I think it's all gravy. House money, man. All good.
Sweet. I mean, I hate to say my Yankees because I haven't
Oh,
watched baseball in probably 10 years. I was growing up. I was a very, very big sports fan. I'm a much bigger sports fan than I am now. I really only like hockey right now. And for probably the past 10 years, I've been only a hockey fan. Um, but I was a very, very big Yankee fan growing up because my Yankees were like Scott Brocious and Tino Martinez and Bernie Williams and Derek Jeter and Roger Clemens and those guys and Mariano Rivera. And the game has just changed. Like so many other sports, the game has changed, and baseball just doesn't look like baseball to me anymore. So I haven't watched in a long time. But so I don't even like calling them my Yankees. I was almost cheering for the Mets for you guys, that you guys would be happy rather than cheering for the Yankees. So I could honestly care less that the Yankees are in the World Series. I do like Otani though. That dude can play ball. He can
yeah,
play
except that
ball.
he's gambling on his own overs.
You know, whatever. Whatever. As long as you're not
I,
betting against your team and as long as you're
I'd
not
rather
throwing
they just
games.
admit it
Yeah. Well, you can't.
if it was
They'll
allowed.
throw you out of baseball. You can't
What
admit
should
it.
I do?
You can't admit it. But anyway, tonight, what we are going to talk about, we have a episode 7 of the Popcorn Bucket. We are going to talk about a movie that came out.
Don't say the
Uh,
title though. I have something for that.
oh, okay. Well, it's in the title. If you want to know what we're talking about, it's right there in the title below the screen there.
But we're
Um,
talking about. Hold on, I
We're
got
gonna
it
talk about
right
it.
here.
We're gonna talk about a Stephen King movie. Should I bring up the Stephen King at the bottom of the screen now? Is
No,
that
wait.
is that
No,
my cue?
hold on. I
Oh,
got the
okay.
title. Just
Oh,
just say we're talking about it and then stop.
we're talking about.
Hold on.
We're. I didn't hear it. No one heard it.
No one
What
heard
it
it.
said. No one heard it. You want to give it another shot?
Yeah.
We're talking. No one heard it.
God damn it.
What's it say? What is it?
There's one in you know the movie 8 Mile Eminem.
Yes.
There's one. I did it this afternoon.
Yeah.
God, I'm so upset this didn't work. But
Okay.
and one of the lyrics is Salem's Lot. And I
Maybe
isolated the clip.
You should have sent that to me.
I'm sorry. I wanted to be a
All
surprise.
right. Oh, that happened to me last week with Sebi. That happened to
What
me last
happened?
week. Up with our favorite music festivals. If you go back and listen to a couple of podcasts ago, Mike went to a music festival in Maryland, and that gave us the idea of what would be your dream music festival. So me, Mike, and Seb came up with our 1-day music festival that we want to go see with all the headliners and the opening bands and everything like that. And there's been this ongoing joke about an actor named Paul Lynde. I don't know if you know Paul Lynde. He was the uncle in Bewitched. He was like the very how do I say it? Flamboyant uncle from Bewitched. And
Okay.
me and Seb started doing his voice. So Paul Lynde's voice makes a cameo on our podcast a lot now. So I had come up with this whole plan on like removing my face from the screen, kind of like, hiding like one of these. And it was going to be Paul Lynde's face on the thing. And I was going to go, "Hey everybody." And it's me, Paul Lynde here. And here's my music festival. And it was all like very, how do I say, like Elton John and like
Bee
Queen.
Gees.
Yeah. Like the Barbara Streisand, like those kind of bands, you know?
Share.
So Cher, yes. Exactly. But what happened was Sebi never showed up. Sebi fell asleep at the wheel. And so I was doing it only for him. And I wanted it to be this big surprise, and he never showed up, so I never got to do it. So
No,
that
I'm
was
very
that.
sorry. We both
It's okay.
whiffed.
Yeah, that's okay. Swing and a miss, just like the Mets. Oh, too soon.
Oh, yes.
But tonight, yes, but tonight we are talking about the remake of Stephen King's Salem's Lot. Now, I had never seen Salem's Lot, the original, so we'll get into that later. But before that, I know you wanted to talk about, or we wanted to talk about some of our favorite spooky movies, since tis the season of Halloween. Um, what are some of your favorite movies to watch during the Halloween season?
I'll just preface like I like horror, but I'm not a huge horror.
Mhm.
I know you're a big horror movie guy.
Well, I think there's a big difference between horror and scary movies.
Okay.
You know,
How do you mean?
like horror movies are gory to me, I
Okay.
think. Like a like I consider like The Conjuring and all like The Exorcist and things like that to be scary movies. I think
Okay.
of like a horror movie, I think of The Terrifier or Saw or
Okay.
something with a little more gore to it, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
Oh, we
something
have
like
to.
that.
Speaking of Terrifier, we got to give out a big shout out to our friend of the show, Richard Christie.
Who's Richard Christie?
He is a friend of mine who is on the Howard Stern show, who was in
Okay.
Terrifier 3.
Oh,
Yeah, he was very excited. He's a huge horror movie guy. I shot him a text and I was like, yo, Richard, like, congrats, man. He was pumped up, man. He
wow.
loves horror movies.
Well,
He'd be a
congrats
great
to
guy to get
Richard.
on one time.
Oh, we should have had him on this show. That would have been cool. We should watch
He's
Terrifier and do
yeah,
Terrifier with him.
we'd love to do that with him. I mean,
Oh.
I only text him, but I worked in an event in my old job, and
Mm-hmm.
we'll be honest, it just didn't sell very well.
Yeah.
So I just ended up spending a ton of time with him, just like shooting the shit. So we got along really well, and like we just like text. He's a huge Chiefs guy. I text him about the Chiefs. He texts me about the Mets. He's a really
Fucking
cool
Chiefs.
guy.
I'm a Broncos fan. So me and him could have some conversations about Broncos Chiefs rivalry. That's a very big rivalry.
I got a
But that would
lot of
be
money on the Chiefs.
well, they never freaking lose because the refs call every call for them. But then that's a different podcast.
The whole episode. That's a different episode. Spooky
Yeah.
movies.
But Terrifier, have you heard about this new Terrifier movie? It is
It's
supposedly
doing great.
the most goriest movie ever produced, to where the guy who plays the clown
Yeah,
almost threw up during a scene. Did you hear about that?
I did. But
The
I mean,
guy who
just to
plays
think
the
about,
creepy clown.
and he's done it 2 other movies as this
Yeah.
same clown. So they're
Yeah.
really dialing it up.
Imagine that. He almost vomited doing a scene because of how
Did you
gory
see
it was.
Terrifier 3?
I haven't seen any of them. I don't like gory stuff, but I will watch it if your friend Richard
You're
comes on.
you're talking about gory movies.
I
Like, I
like
don't want.
spooky movies. I like scary movies. I don't like gory movies. I'll watch it. It doesn't bother me to watch it. Like I won't watch like home invasion movies. I won't watch those. That's not
I
happening.
know.
I'm not
What was
watching
that
those.
one that came out? We were talking about seeing it. But this was when I was still in high school. That one, the Us.
So well, that was okay. That was Us was a little well, yeah. That was a home invasion movie. I didn't like it. I
We
didn't like it.
watched we watched the trailer together in New
Yeah.
York, and you were like,
Yeah.
"Man, I'm
Nope.
not seeing this movie. Like, I'm out."
I can't do it. I can't do it, man. I don't like those movies. But I'll watch a gory movie if I have to, but it's just yeah, if we're interviewing a guy that was in the movie, I'll definitely watch it. That's not a problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if I was gonna say like the movies I like that are spooky, I
Mhm.
really like a lot of the ones that are kind of funny, if that makes any
Okay.
sense.
Like what?
Like I love Evil Dead 2. I love
Okay.
Shaun of the Dead. I love
Mhm.
What We Do in the Shadows. Like I like
Okay.
the ones that kind of poke and like prod at a little bit. Like that makes me laugh. I love like Silence of the Lambs. I like it when it's more realistic. I
Mhm.
like a Cape Fear
Doesn't Shaun of the
or
Dead have like a hand that's like a axe or something? Or am I thinking of something
that's
different?
Evil Dead.
Evil Dead. Okay.
And people consider this one a horror movie, but I don't really, which is American Psycho.
Oh no, I don't think that's a horror movie.
It's listed as a horror, but I don't think it is either.
That's a
But
psychological thriller.
that's completely fair. But then I also really like Halloween, the original, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah. Now that's my ballpark.
Yeah, the Exorcist I'll never watch again. That
The
was the
original one.
scariest thing. As a full adult, I watched that movie for the first time. Like that's the
Yeah.
scariest thing I've ever seen.
You have to listen to if you want to get freaked out. There is a show back in the day. It was kind of like the original Joe Rogan show.
Okay,
But it was on the radio. And the guy's name was Art Bell. You got to look him up. Look up Art Bell, and he did long form radio just like Joe Rogan does long form stuff. And he would interview people, but mostly it was kind of like supernatural stuff. So
okay,
he would interview people that were like had conspiracies about moon landings or conspiracies about the pyramids in Egypt or aliens, Mars and stuff like that. And there was one episode, it actually might have been like 3 or 4 episodes, where he interviewed the priest that was like the consultant for The Exorcist. Like, because The Exorcist is like, I think it's based on like real life
yeah.
events,
It's
right?
based on a real exorcism.
Yeah. So the priest that was the consultant for the movie is like he's like the priest who's done the most exorcisms in the world, like legit exorcisms. And
Scary.
he gets interviewed for like 4 hours on the Art Bell show. If you can find it on YouTube, it's just the audio. And it was back in like the 90s. And he interviews this priest, and it's horrifying. Like the stuff this guy tells you, if it's all real and he's not lying about it, it's some spooky stuff.
And
But
that's on that. I'm not sure if you ever caught that one. It was like called like Cursed Sets or something.
no.
They did this. It was really, from what I watched, it was really really good. But they
Hmm.
did like movie sets where like weird things would happen, and The Exorcist is at like the top of the list. Like people
Oh
like
yeah.
died on set.
Hmm.
Um, Linda Blair. So if you've seen it, like when she's initially getting exercise, she's like thrashing back and forth,
Right.
and she's like, how old was she? 13.
Yeah, she was young.
She's a young woman, and they have ropes like they to simulate the thrashing. They would have like ropes that were like tugging her. She almost broke her neck. Like people, this
Oh,
was like a crazy movie. And
yeah.
then you watch it, and it all works. It's the
Hmm.
scariest thing I've ever like, and the whole Pazuzu thing.
Hmm.
Oh, there's that one still like you get to see. It's basically the devil's face,
Oh
and
wow.
you're like, okay, this is the scariest thing I've ever seen.
I think people
That-
from that movie did like die. I think there's like a whole
yeah,
thing about people dying that worked on that movie.
yeah. But like I think it was
Yeah.
like 4 people, and it wasn't that big a
Yeah.
production. It's also one of
Right.
the most successful movies ever made.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
It's
that
really
can
good.
bring us, and it's really
Well,
really good.
I didn't give my favorite movies.
Oh, okay,
My number one is Halloween.
okay.
1000%. The original Halloween is my favorite movie. You gave me a Halloween pin. Do you remember giving me that Halloween pin from like
Yes, I do.
I still have it. Still have that Halloween pin. Um that one I like The Omen, the original Omen. Did you ever see the Omen? It's about
No,
basically
I've
Satan.
like watched the trailer, and then I got too scared.
Oh, dude, you got to watch the original Omen. I think Gregory Peck is in that. If you can look that up for me. I think
He
Gregory
is.
Peck. Yeah, he plays the dad in the Omen. And basically the son is the son of Satan. And
Yeah, because they have
it's
to find 666 on his body or something, right?
yeah, that's a
Yeah.
really good, really good movie. Amityville Horror is probably not Amityville Horror. Is that the one in Long Island with the house?
Long
Yeah,
Island,
right? Yeah.
baby.
Hey,
Right,
baby.
right, my neighborhood.
That's up there with all of those. That's in my top 3 for sure. Um, and the remake of that is a really good movie. Ryan Reynolds did a remake of the
Yes.
Amityville Horror, and that was excellent. Like it was like beat for beat, like the original. Really good. Um, and my those are all old. Like I really gravitate towards like the 70s and 80s Halloween movies, mostly because they didn't do special effects in them,
Yeah.
and the scares were more about the anticipation of the bad guy rather than the bad guy being there all the time. So,
Right.
like, Michael Myers, you're scared more often with the anticipation of you think he's behind the door, or you think he's in the house, or you think he's in the car rather than actually seeing him. He's not on screen very much in
No, and he
Halloween.
doesn't say anything.
He doesn't say anything, and the music, the tenseness that the music brings, that's the scary parts of that movie, you know? And Jamie
And
Lee
they're and
Curtis is
they're
freaking great in
they're
that movie.
sexier, you know, like
Oh, yeah.
they're like there's like it's a lot of teenagers, and it's like
Mhm.
the parents aren't home,
Yeah.
and there's blood, and there's guts, like it's good entertainment, because those are like, I don't really like enjoy it too much when it's like adults in the heart, like,
Mhm.
because they don't really get scared, you know,
Yeah.
like it's about like
True.
people in the prime of their lives that are trying to goof off, and then reality chews them up and spits them out. Like that's
Right.
way more entertaining than,
Yeah.
and in the movie we'll talk about later, where there were some issues I had with that as well.
Yeah.
Um,
So
no, go ahead.
those are my older favorites, and I think the only one that I really like that's recent is I really love the Insidious series. I don't know if you've ever watched the Insidious movies.
You gush about the villain in that first Insidious movie. You say that's
Oh,
like the scariest guy of all time.
I love that villain, and I love the concept. I love the whole haunted house. There are demons, supernatural kind. I love that concept. Like there's another dimension kind of thing where there's ghosts and friggin' I love that shit. And Insidious does a great job at that. I think there's 4 or 5 Insidiouses at this point. There might even be 6.
There's
And
a lot.
there's only one bad one. In the whole bunch, there's only one bad Insidious. All the other ones are friggin' top notch. And they all kind of go in connect to one another, which is really good. It's one big story.
Okay.
And there are a couple of movies that are like branch off of Insidious. I think Annabelle or there's
No,
another movie
that's
series.
the Conjuring has the one that has the universe around it.
Oh, there's nothing that links into Insidious. I thought there
Don't
was.
believe so,
I
because
haven't
the
seen the other
Conjuring.
movies.
No, the
I watched the
Conjuring.
original Conjuring. I watched the original Conjuring.
That one has Annabelle in it. She's like the
The
opening
doll.
scene,
Yeah.
and that was such like a huge hit, because it was also turned out to be like a real. Because that those ones are based off of a real family.
Are
The
they?
war, the Warrens, I think they're called,
Okay.
something like that, and
The
they would
original
actually
Conjuring
go
was
around.
that original Conjuring was fucked up. I love that. That was a good movie.
That was a huge hit.
Yeah.
Well,
That
that
was
was
really
one
good.
of the things. Yeah, because the Annabelle scene was the first scene, but then it
Okay.
came out that the Annabelle doll is actually in one of those like haunted museums,
Yeah.
like the real
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
And then
Oh,
they made
really?
a whole series of Annabelle movies. Because what's
Wow.
scarier than a creepy doll? It is creepy. I don't know what it
It's
is.
very creepy. Very
There's like
creepy.
well, there's, what is it? There's Annabelle. There's Chucky. There's the boy. Remember the boy?
What's The Boy? That's a
The
movie called The
boy.
Boy?
Whoever called me a porcelain doll, that's what I think he was making fun of me from. There was this one called the boy.
Wha
I'm going to spoil the entire movie right
wait
now.
till you see what they did to you. Oh my god, there are intros with you and
What are you
oh,
talking about?
we made so much media with the porcelain doll idea. Wait till you see it tomorrow. You're gonna yeah, uh-huh, uh-huh,
I mean, I was added into that group chat for like a cup of coffee, and I got torn
yeah,
to shreds for like 20
yeah.
minutes, and then I didn't hear anything ever again.
That was all Rito. Rito did that to you, and the boys ran with it.
Oh god!
All day long
And
today,
now I have
I'm
to
just
be on.
getting all day long, I'm just getting proofs of which one do you like better? Which one do you like better? And it's just you in dresses, you in a doll box. Like, oh, it's fantastic.
All right, I'm gonna
Oh,
have to
it's so
dress.
good.
I'm gonna have to dress extra
Manly?
porcelain dolly tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Are you
I'll
you're gonna
buy
run
all the
with it?
way into it. I'm gonna
Okay,
run
you'll
with
lean
it.
into it. Okay. All
We're
right.
talking about a vest tomorrow night.
Very nice. So again, segue into whatever you wanted to segue into before that I cut you off.
I don't even remember. Stephen. All right, we'll just do Stephen King.
Oh,
What do you think
did you
about
have
this
some?
guy?
What do I think about it? I think he's a legend, right?
Okay,
He's a really,
absolutely.
really famous author. And all his book like he's in that same realm as like Michael Crichton for me, right? The guy who writes a book and every one of his books gets turns into a movie. And
And a good
pretty
one,
much
right?
and yeah, and they're all pretty good. I mean, Michael Crichton's my favorite author of all time, as far as like Um, I mean, Tolkien is, I could say Tolkien is my favorite. He wrote my favorite story, but that's the
Yeah.
only thing I've ever read by him. Michael Crichton, I've read lots of books by Michael Crichton, and he has multiple movies that I like. But I love a whole bunch of Stephen King. I don't like all of them. Like he takes a lot of swings, and
How many Stephen King movies do you think? Sorry, books have become movies because I have the number, and I knew it was a lot, but it's a lot, a lot.
now when you say movies, are we talking like theatrical movies or like made for
These are
TV
movies that
movies?
that by today's standard have are theatrical releases. Like Salem's
Because
Lot did not go into theaters,
no,
but that counts as a
no.
movie.
Okay, so I
It
mean,
does not count like the It TV show or
is it
like
is it more or less than 10?
way more.
Really?
It's way more.
Wow.
Like I went to film school. If I was credited as a person on this many movies in my entire career, I would be a tremendous success.
Wow. So how many is it?
It is 65 movies,
And they were all books.
all books.
Wow. What are some of the most famous ones on that list that
So
everyone's gonna
that's what
know?
I wrote down. I wrote down the top 10 best reviewed ones. And
Okay.
you're going to be like, I'll go. You want me to start with 10?
Yeah, sure.
So 10 was The Green
Wait, hold
Mile,
on.
which I did.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was gonna see if I can guess them.
Okay.
I didn't know
10
he
was,
I didn't even know he did the Green Mile.
I didn't know that until today.
Wow.
Never seen. People like a lot.
People
All right. Well,
love that movie.
you got nine more then.
It.
It is number 11. Oh, wait. Hold on. Do I take that back? It is number six, to that, which
Okay,
I
yeah,
liked a lot.
let's
That was a very good movie.
the original one or the remake?
The remake was very good.
I like the remake. I
Beep,
think the
beep,
original is
beep, Richie.
slightly better. Yeah.
I like Beep, beep, Richie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Always makes me laugh. I wasn't very scared.
No. No,
I actually saw that one in, you remember 4DX? I don't even think they still do that.
they have something like it though. There's some
You
type
know
of
what I'm
high.
talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I
That's the one where
saw,
they shake the chairs and shit.
yeah. But
Yeah.
I saw that and Blade Runner 2048 or 2049, whatever it was. I left soaking wet because it rains the entire Blade Runner movie. I was drenched, dude. It's
That's
like
funny.
3 hours of just getting sprayed with a mist gun. All right, so it you have.
All right, it I got. We're gonna go Pet Cemetery.
No, that's down the line.
Really? That's my favorite Stephen King movie.
That is number 23. That's right in the right. It's
Wow.
the first third.
Okay. Mist, the Mist, the Fog, whatever it's called.
I
Is
know
that
what
on
you're talking
there?
about, but that is
Yeah.
not in the top 10.
Oh,
The
Salem's
mist.
Lot.
No.
Wow.
So like in this top, I'll help you out here. In
Yeah,
this
yeah.
like
Just
top,
I give up.
yeah. In this top five, you got
Yeah.
like three serious award winners, which
Okay.
are Misery,
Oh, I love Misery. All right.
Shawshank
Love Misery.
Redemption.
That's a book by Stephen King?
Yes, it is.
You sure about that? That's a Stephen
Yeah,
King
sure.
book?
That is a
No
Stephen
way.
King book. Yes.
Wow.
So if you watch like, and so I have a thing on this too, and it all relates back to the Dark Tower. But then you got Stand
Yeah.
by Me
Oh,
and
Dark
Carrie is
Tower.
number one.
Carrie. It's a good one.
Very good movie. But
Dark
when they
Tower. I
did Dark
read all those
Tower,
books.
you were a huge fan. We saw Dark Tower together in theaters. If you
So
remember,
disappointing. Such a
very disappointing.
disappointing movie. The
So
books are so good.
you love those books.
Oh, they're really good.
Who does
Really good
Idris
story.
Elba play, and who does Matthew McConaughey play? Because those were supposed to be like
The
great characters, and they were awful.
the Man in Black
Yes,
and then the Gunslinger.
yes, those were like supposed to be
Yeah.
like the two greatest
Yeah.
Stephen King characters. But in that movie,
Gunslinger's
if you
great. I
remember,
want to be the
they
Gunslinger.
they talked about Shining
Hmm.
because
Oh,
they
he
like
wrote The Shining too?
yeah.
Oh, no. All right. Well, Shining's in my top 10 favorite movies of all time.
So that's number
So
one.
yeah, that's my number one. I didn't know he wrote that. See how
So,
ignorant I am?
but when they did the Dark Tower, I think that the idea was that they were going to try and do
A
all of these
billion of them.
movies into something like get
Yeah.
allegedly the people in Hollywood are supposed to. I'm not sure if you know this. They're supposed to be like creative.
I didn't know
I'm
that.
not sure.
They,
I
they
didn't
don't
know that.
show it.
They don't show it. So I had an inkling when they did that one, because then Doctor Sleep comes like a couple years later. I feel like they were going to try and gear up to maybe do like a Stephen King verse movie
Yeah.
and get like the Salem's Lot vampire, like, I don't know, do something. But I think that was out the door. But yeah, this guy has had an unbelievable career with just, I mean, so many movies and so many bad ones too that
Yeah.
aren't really his.
Yeah.
And again, they're not his fault. I think it's funny though. He does hate The Shining.
Does he?
Yes, The
Huh.
Shining for him is a very personal story that Stanley Kubrick just did not care about,
I'm gonna bring up
because
a picture here. But I'm listening.
no, because Stephen King like struggled with alcohol for a lot of his life,
Yeah.
and the Shining, like the character Jack goes through, is that he's like trying to like kind of get clean, and it kind of
Hmm.
drives him insane, and it leads to him killing his entire family. So,
Right.
and then
So here,
Stanley Kubrick made it about like Native American burial grounds. Like, I don't know.
here's a list of just some of them that I just quickly pulled up. So you have Shawshank, Christine. Did you ever see Christine? It's about a haunted
No,
car.
yeah,
I've never seen that. Did you ever see The Dead Zone?
no.
That's a great movie. Christopher Walken's in The Dead Zone.
Oh, can you say Dead Zone like Christopher Walken, please?
The Dead Zone. Wow. It's really dead. It's
But
like
it's a big zone.
it's like the end zone with a D. Dead zone. I'm tried.
That was good. I like that. It's very good.
Thanks. Thank you. I just heard somebody gave an interview where they told a story about Christopher Walken, and it was an actor, and he asked the actor, "Hey, did you ever work with an actor mouse? Like a mouse that was trained to be on set and shit?" Oh, it was funny. It was very funny. I don't know who. Oh, it was David Spade. Check that out. YouTube search David Spade talking to Christopher Walken. But anyway, so you got The Dead Zone, which is real. I suggest you watch The Dead Zone. It's a very good movie. It's about a kid who gets bonked in the head and then can see dead people, or he can see the deaths of people before they happen, kind of thing. It's pretty interesting. The Shining, Doctor Sleep. I've never seen Doctor Sleep. Never heard
That
of
is
that.
the sequel to The Shining.
Is it? Never
Yeah,
seen that.
people really
Okay.
liked
How
it.
really? Huh.
Yeah,
Is it like still in the 70s or 80s, or is it like a newer
it's a
movie?
grown-up Danny
Oh, no way. Okay.
dealing with his
Okay.
his Shining.
Yes, trauma. Um 1408. I think that was a Robert Cusack movie, right? John Cusack. I think that was a John
That I
Cusack
couldn't tell
movie.
you.
I think I've seen it, but I don't remember it being very good. Pet Cemetery, again, one of my favorites. It has Herman Munster's in Pet Cemetery. I love that movie. Such a good movie. You know, the first time I saw that was during Hurricane Sandy. How old are you
Oh,
with Hurricane Sandy? Were you like
I
3?
was I was 12. I was
You
not
were 12.
3.
I don't know. I time. It's crazy. Um, yeah, all like so we knew that Hurricane Sandy was coming and we knew we were gonna lose power that night.
I
So
remember.
Nicole and I, we didn't have kids yet, I don't think. Or Christian was either 1 or we didn't have him yet. It was either he was really young or just about, maybe Nicole was even pregnant at that time. But anyway, so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna download a movie on the iPad so that we can watch something while we don't have the power. I was really thinking ahead. And I got propane for the barbecue so we could cook outside if we needed to because we weren't gonna have any power. That's what's when I watched Pet Cemetery during Hurricane Sandy.
Watched a
Then you
scary movie during a hurricane. It was as if it wasn't scary
yeah.
enough.
Well, Staten Island wasn't going to get it. You know, we knew
Yeah.
that Queens and Long Island were going to get it. Staten Island wasn't going to get it. Too
Yeah,
bad.
we got hit pretty hard.
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah, you
We had my
did.
whole family in the one house
Really?
because we were the only ones that had the generator.
Oh, okay. We had a tree go down in front of our house, but that was it. That's all we had. Let's see. We got Misery on here. Have you ever seen Misery?
Yes, but a long time ago.
Oh, dude, you have to rewatch
Very good.
Misery.
No, I
What a
remember it.
friggin'
I
movie.
haven't watched it in a long time.
No, I'm not even. I'm just saying rewatch it just because it's good.
It's
Just rewatch
excellent.
it. It's just
It's
so
creepy.
so
It's
excellent.
scary.
Kathy
That's
Bates is
that's a
and was
scary movie.
Michael Caine, not Michael Caine. What's his name? James
Caan.
Caan. James Caan. That's it. James
Yeah,
Caan.
James Caan.
So good. It's not it's not one of my favorites. I like the newer one better than the older one because I can't take the clown serious. I can't take Tim Curry clown serious in
He's
the
too
old one.
clownish.
Yeah. Green Mile's supposed to be one of those amazing movies I've never seen. Stand by Me. Is that like the Stand by Me from like the 80s or the 90s?
Yeah, it's the one with all the kids trying to find the dead
Yeah,
body.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's him. I didn't know that was Stephen King. It's crazy, man. This
And
guy's
if
done
we
so
stop
much.
right there, that's probably a
Yeah.
pretty good transition. So just
Okay.
scroll up to the top for me really quick.
Yeah.
So you got, let's see, you got The Shining,
Yeah.
Misery,
Christine.
It, Stand By Me, and the movie we're supposed to be reviewing, Salem's Lot.
Yeah.
All four of the titular characters in those movies are writers, which is always something that drives me nuts about Stephen King. They're always writers, like he is.
Yeah. Right.
Because I don't know what it is about himself that he can't disassociate. That
You write
someone with an interesting life can't just not be a writer.
you write what you know.
I guess, but
Like Leslie
it's a
Headland.
who's that?
She's the director and creator of The Acolyte. Lesbian Space Witches.
Oh, that's why they got her. They got a lesbian space witch to write the lesbian space witch story.
Who better to write it?
Than a
Right?
lesbian space witch.
Yeah. I mean, come on now. No, but
No,
I
but
can go
it
ahead.
drives me nuts because I watched the movie today. I don't know when have you watched? 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Like 3 days ago. I watched it over the weekend.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
I'm like sitting there and I see this. He's like the handsome, like old stubble, long hair, like cool guy walking down. I'm like, I swear to God, this guy's a fucking writer. I'm gonna lose my shit. And then immediately the ladies read the book. I'm like, God damn it,
Yeah.
he's a writer. They're always
Yeah.
writers. I
Yeah.
just don't know why. It makes me laugh at this point. But when I was little, and I learned that all these movies were Stephen King movies, I'm like, why everybody's a writer? Like, or they're all intelligent. They're like
Mhm.
Andy Dufresne. Like, it can never be like the point of view character is never like a dumb guy or like someone that's like a little like it's always like a smart. It's exactly fantasy Stephen King in every
Mhm.
single story, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you ever noticed that, but it always kind of drives me a little bit crazy.
Is the Pet Cemetery guy a writer?
I bet you he is. I bet you that guy writes.
Bet your ass he is.
Bet your ass that guy writes.
Misery, he is. He's a writer in Misery. He's
He's
going
a
away
writer,
to the cabin to go write a book.
and then he
In The
gets hurt.
Shining, in The Shining, he's an
Yeah,
author. He
Shining.
has a mental block.
In Stand by Me, the kid grows up to be a writer, and so same in It.
Oh.
I mean, these are
Mm.
these are big movies, and they're all effing writers.
There's no
It's
Shawshank writer though, I don't think. Is there a
no, but
Shawshank writer?
Dufresne is smart.
Yeah.
He's a very like cagey like nerd. I mean, it's like the same thing.
Yeah. What about The Secret Window? He was an author, right? Wasn't Johnny Depp an author in The Secret Window?
You know better than me. I mean, again,
I
that
don't
was
know. He looks
and
like
that
it.
was my example was the top 11 movies on Rotten Tomatoes. There's
Yeah.
65 movies. I bet
Yeah.
you there's at least 30 of these dorks that are writers.
Children of the Corn? He did Children of the Corn too?
Dude,
That's one of my favorite
it's like
horror movies too. It's not like in the top. I don't know if it makes the top 10, but I love Children of the Corn. If you tell me he did
no,
Leprechaun, I'm gonna shit.
he did not do the Leprechaun.
Okay,
The
good.
Leprechaun does have one of my favorite lines ever, though. When
Which
he's
is
when he's crashing the bus and he says, "Oh, fucketh me." Makes me laugh every single time. That movie's
dude,
great.
I was like 12 or 13 when that original one came out, and I couldn't get enough of Tiffany Amber Thiessen.
Is that the
She
woman?
was she was the Saved by the Bell girl.
Never
Oh
seen.
my god, Leprechaun, Tiffany. Oh, hold on. I
Yeah,
think
pull her up. That's one of our.
she was every kid my age at the time's dream. I
Oh,
can't
so she
spell
was my
Leprechaun.
like Megan Fox when Transformers came out. All of us were
So
like,
but
"Oh
so
my
much
goodness."
but so much better. Tiffany Amber Thiessen. Let's see. Yeah, I can't spell leprechaun. I'm so bad.
I know we have to do the popcorn bucket spelling bee. I think that's a great
Yeah.
idea for an episode.
Was she in Leprechaun? Oh boy.
This
Look
is
up Leprechaun. Look up the original Leprechaun. It
old
had to be
old
her.
old man Mav mixing up his
Seriously. Was she not
his.
in Leprechaun? Oh well. You look that up. If
I'll
it wasn't
find it.
her, then
I'll find
Leprechaun.
something.
Leprechaun cast.
I'm sure you'll text me tomorrow while you're at work. I
Yeah,
found her.
exactly. It wasn't. Oh no, it wasn't her. You know who it was? It was Jennifer Aniston.
No, her I
It
know.
was a very, very young Jennifer Aniston
She's in
and Warwick
Leprechaun.
Davis.
Yes, I knew he was the Leprechaun. I did not know that Jennifer Aniston was in Leprechaun.
Yeah, super, super young Jennifer Aniston.
One of the most successful actresses ever.
Here, I'll bring up a picture.
For those of our audience who doesn't know what Jennifer Aniston, renowned supermodel actress, looks like, yeah, there she is.
Look at her when she's like 18, 19 years old,
That is as least blonde as I've ever seen her hair.
right?
I guess that's stuff.
She got so much hotter as she got older.
She's still gorgeous.
Oh yeah. Phenomenal. But all right. So that's that.
Enough.
You want to talk
Enough.
about Salem's Lot now? We're
Sure.
gonna do this? All right. So before you're gonna run through the movie because it's fresh in your mind. But before
Yes.
you do that, um, I hadn't seen the original. And I'm very surprised at myself because I've seen there was a time before I had kids where my wife and I would the whole month of Halloween, we would make an effort to rent from Blockbuster 4 different Halloween movies every year so that we can see as many different spooky Halloween style movies as we could, right? So every weekend we would watch a different scary movie. And we would get like Hellraiser and Nightmare on Elm Street and what's the one with the bees? Forget the one with the
Wicker
bees.
Man.
Wicker Man. Like we would get all those movies and Carrie and The Omen. And that's how I saw all those movies. I was probably in my 20s when I saw all these movies. But we never got Salem's Lot. And I've always heard of it, but I never got a chance to watch it. So what I did was I watched this movie first without any, of the stuff to compare it to. And while I was at work today, I was like, let me see if I could find Salem's Lot, like reviews or something about the original movie. And what I found out was it wasn't a movie. It was a made for TV miniseries, which I was very surprised about. It was like a 3-night miniseries on regular television, 2/4 on CBS or whatever channel it was aired on. And from what I understand, it wasn't a great original movie either. But I was just surprised. Did you know it wasn't like a theatrical movie? I thought it was.
I had no idea. I'd never heard of it. I mean, I thought when I saw it was Salem's Lot, I assumed it was witches.
That's what my wife said. My wife's like, "Is this about witches?" And I'm like, "I don't think so." I was like, "It's about some author, like and vampires."
It's about some dork writer again.
But I mean, it does occur in Salem, Massachusetts, and I think the original name of the town, which they showed you in this movie, was Jerusalem's Lot,
In
but they
Maine, though.
didn't in Maine, but they didn't want to call it Jerusalem's Lot because they thought people would not like the title because the original working title was Jerusalem's Lot, and then they just shortened it to Salem's Lot because that's what the locals would call the town. So a
Okay, that's
little
interesting.
factoid for you. Yeah. So do you want to get into it? Go for it.
Sure. I was very confused when it started because do you recognize who
It's
what do you
Bob.
call the
He's the
vampires?
Rio. Oh, sorry.
No, the vampires like butler. What are they called? Do they have an official name in like the horror
Oh, I
movie
have no
Spectre?
idea. I don't know. Vampire bitch. I don't know.
Smee.
It's me. Oh, I remember that. Oh no.
Whoever did you recognize who it was? The first
No, who was it?
vampire Smee?
No.
It was driving me crazy. I mean, from the get go. It's one of the Greyjoys from Euron Greyjoy from
Oh,
Game of
really?
Thrones. Yes, I saw his ugly mug and I was like, "Who is this guy?" Because all
And
the
his
Greyjoys
name
are
was
ugly.
did they ever give you his name? Like, do you remember
Oh,
what his name is? Because like they say it very prominently in the first film. It's Stryker.
couldn't. I
Yeah.
would not have
I
placed that.
I don't know if they ever tell you that. So as you're going through this, do you mind if like I interrupt you to tell you how it's different from the original?
Not at all.
Okay. So
So
that
the
dude's
first
name
scene
that dude is
is
very important in this movie, where I don't think he's very important in the new movie, but go ahead.
no, he's not. He's basically he gets replaced halfway through the movie, like pretty easily. He gets killed kind of off screen. Anyway, um, Yeah, and it's very confusing because he's talking like a Victorian, like an old timey, like, "Oh, bring me my coffin," and the guy behind the desk is like, "Yeah, all right." So I was like, "Is this taking place like in mod?" Like I had no idea until like 10, 15 minutes into the movie, which is not a great start.
Nicole had the
Um,
same question. She goes, "Is this in 18th century London or is this modern day?" I was like, "We're gonna have to just wait and find out."
Me and your wife are having a lot of similar takes right now.
I
I'm not
didn't
sure
know.
if
I didn't know if it was a flashback. I thought it was a flashback.
it looked like it was a flashback because he's also dressed again like a Victorian person. He's got
Yeah.
like the bowler hat and like the
Hmm.
bad facial hair and the whole thing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so confused immediately, and then they drop off the coffin in the basement, and then like this movie just took like it took a really long time to get going.
Yeah.
Because then the writer comes into town, and then he goes to meet his initial love interest, and then he like gets thrown out of there. Like it's like okay, like so they needed to like contrive some sort of a scene for them to meet one another and to establish that he was a writer, and then yeah,
All
and
right. So
she
so so hold on, hold on. Let's
yeah
let's
yeah
build
yeah.
this up a little bit better for a listener. So it opens up in an antique store or a shop of some
It's
kind.
like a leather like an upholstery store.
And you have this weird kind of like British kind of dude dressed up like an old timey Brit, and he's instructing a plebeian to pick up a coffin and drop it off at this house for him, and he pays him handsomely and whatever. And there's
And
this
he pays
mystery
him to
behind
put
this
it
coffin.
in the basement with
Yes,
no lights on because he's
right,
trying to get the vampire to eat the guy.
right. Well, you don't know that initially. You just know that he wants some weird cat like box to be dropped off, and they bring these two guys bring the coffin to the house, and inside is your main antagonist, right? And his name is
Barkov,
no Barlow. Good
Barlow.
try.
I
Barlow.
saw
And
it like 5 hours ago.
he's like a head vampire. He's like the big bad in the movie. In the original movie, you don't see Barlow until an hour into the movie. That
I
goes
think
back to what
that
I was saying before
I
about how
think the
like
case is the same.
no, you see him like within the first 20 minutes. That's one of the gripes that everyone online has about the
Yeah,
movie. Because like that goes back to what I was saying before. It was like there was no suspense. There was less suspense in this one because like or less natural suspense. You know what I mean? There was a lot of jump scares and stuff, but the
to
fact
this
that
movie's credit though, they did
mhm,
not when you did see him, it was very
mhm,
quick.
yeah,
There's not like one lingering shot of one of the main vampires until very later in the movie.
right. And there are lingering shots all over the first movie. Like
Yeah.
they're really on these people on the vampires all the time. But the house is important, right? The house that they drop the coffin off is called the Marston house, and that's where our main protagonist grew up, or his lived there when he grew up, or something like that. The main guy, I forget his name. Do you remember the character name
God,
of the author?
it's just fantasy Stephen King.
Yeah,
I think his
we'll
name's
call him
Dan or something.
Dan. We'll call
I
him
think it's
Dan. It's
Dan.
probably not Dan, but we'll call him Dan. He's played by the guy who played Bob in Top Gun Maverick. Did you realize that? You remember
I
Bob?
knew his face from somewhere.
He
That's
was the
yes, you're
radar
absolutely
guy.
correct.
Yeah.
Yes, I
Nicole's like,
know
I
who
know that
Bob
guy.
was.
Yeah. So he was Bob, and he's an author coming back to town to find some type of motivation to write his next book. And the difference in the first movie was that he came back because he was haunted. He's always been haunted by the house. He was coming back for specifically for the house. Where in this movie, he's coming back because he just needs some kind of like motivation to write a book. He needs to
Yes.
get the wheels turning. So carry on.
Yeah. And after that initial scene, then we're introduced to the kids. And
Yeah,
the main kid, I actually thought was very good.
the white kid or the black kid.
The black kid. I knew you were going
Hmm.
to go there.
No, that's the only two ways I can differentiate them. They're brothers in the original.
the main kid,
Yeah.
what was his name? Mark. Couldn't tell
Yeah.
you any of his
Mark.
name. Yeah, he was pretty good though. Like as a character, he was the kid to kid actor scale. In my mind, you just go, are they annoying or no? And he was not annoying.
I think he did. I think everyone in this movie did fine as far as
Fine,
acting goes. Like there was
but did
nothing in this movie that was like, wow, that was some great acting there.
no, never once.
No, but there was never any. Wow, that's really poor acting. Like,
No,
everything was just fine in this movie.
this was like the most. And oh, that's something I wanted to bring up. The producer of, not the director, the producer of this movie is
Mhm.
James Wan. Do you know this guy?
He's famous, didn't he do Aquaman?
He did Aquaman, but he's one of the producers, and it's just like everything that he does is just so down. Like these days, is just so down the middle.
Yeah.
Like, and like that's fine, but it's like he did Saw. Saw is his, but
Okay.
that's 20 years ago, and he does like The Conjuring. He does the Insidious ones, but like
Oh,
everything he does is now. He used to be like one of these guys. You'd be like, oh wow, he's like a very cutting edge, prestigious, like, but now it's just all down the middle. And it wasn't boring, but it's not like exciting, right?
yeah.
This
So
movie.
so quick. Let's do a quick summary of this movie. Guy comes
Okay, yeah,
back.
get it
He's
out of the way.
he's
Yeah.
he's an author. There's a He comes back to get some kind of motivation to write a book. All of a sudden, people are getting killed and be going missing. And when they find out what's happening, is that there's a vampire making everybody in the town vampires, and they got to kill all the vampires. That's
And there's a
essentially the whole.
and there's a lot of vampires though. Like
There's a
they
ton of
basically get
vampires,
the entire town.
and there's a ton of characters that you're introduced to, and they never build up on any of these characters, right? You meet people, you meet the teacher, you meet the girlfriend who
The
falls in love with this
priest.
guy the second she sees him, the priest, the mom of the girlfriend who's shooting people with shotguns at the end.
Yes.
Even the little kids, like you don't learn nearly enough about
But anybody.
anybody in the whole movie, even especially the bad guy. Like there were
No.
there were things that I came out of there, and Nicole fell asleep because she always falls asleep towards the end. And I woke her up to kind of tell her, like, let's go up to sleep. And she's like, "Well, how'd you like it? Did you finish it?" And I was like, there are things that I liked and there are things that I didn't like. I did appreciate the fact that it took place in the 70s. I liked that they kept it in the same time period of the original, and that they didn't make it a modern day 2024 setting.
Well,
Like
it
it
wouldn't
was a
work
Why not? You can have vampires now.
because they never had any idea of where anybody was, and they couldn't text them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
You
That's
know.
true. Maybe that's why they kept it in that
No, it
era.
worked. And,
Yeah.
looking at it, this was probably, from what I can tell, like a really great book.
Yeah.
And
It's
that's what goes to your point of you don't know enough about like the idea with the priest who's like struggling with his faith and like also is probably like a what is he like a drunk or
yeah.
like he gets too messed up at night and he like goes to prison. Uh, um, we don't learn anything about the kids like at all, but like there were like good ideas and really cool concepts in this story, but
Yeah.
there just wasn't. It was a 2 hour movie that's 30 minutes too long. There was just
Mm.
nothing you were like really looking forward to.
I was
Or
on
like
my phone a lot during
I was
this
on my phone
movie.
a lot.
I was checking Facebook Marketplace for some guitars and stuff, and this was kind of on in the background. And I really wanted to learn more about who is Barlow, how long has Barlow
Yes.
been alive, how did
What
Barlow
get
get
here?
Stryker? How did he employ Stryker? Why did he have to be? Well, I can only assume he had to be transported in the crate because the sunlight, because he can't travel in the sunlight.
Well, he looks a lot like Nosferatu.
Nosferatu. Yeah.
Yeah, and Nosferatu comes over via crate in the
Okay.
stories that I don't even remember if he winds up in America or England, but
Right.
like he has to they ship him.
He got shipped.
He got shipped overnight. Yeah,
They UPS'd him.
the
Um,
UPS Nosferatu.
I was very curious because I didn't see the original. I was like, what did the original monster look like? What did the original Barlow look like? Dude, it's the exact same image. Like,
It looks better. The original Nosferatu looked better than Barlow, by the way.
mm,
So there's a scene when they're in Mark the kid's house and the priest is with the parent. That was probably my favorite scene in the movie, by the way.
which was what?
Uh, when the priest comes to the house
Hmm.
and he's like explaining to the parents, and the
Yeah,
kid's like, "I saw this," and the priest is like, "This is real," and the parents are kind of in denial. But
yeah,
then you see Barlow, and it's total rubber guy in a suit.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, oh, okay, this is not real.
Oh, you should see
Um,
the original one then. Oh, it's
I'm
worse.
sure it's worse, but
He's
it
got
really
big
looked.
fake teeth. He's got
It
these big old
looks.
fake teeth hanging out of his
I
mouth
mean,
in the original. Funny.
it looked bad, right? Like the
Yeah,
original Nosferatu from 1920 looked
yeah,
more convincing than this thing. He
yeah. It
looked
was a
like
little. I like the glowing eyes though. That was kind of cool.
the glowing eyes was nice, but it looked like one of like those like Star Trek villains from like the 60s. Like
Yes,
it did
yes,
not look good. But then
yeah.
that was like the coolest scene when the priest has the crucifix. And
Hmm.
this is also something I want to talk about with you because I thought this had a very there were a couple cool things they did with like because the horror movies with like the classic characters, they all have rules about and
Yes.
vampires especially have so many rules, and that was a
Yeah.
huge part of this movie was
Hmm.
the priest is holding the crucifix, and in this iteration I've never seen this before. The crucifixes actually glow, like
Yeah.
they illuminate. And
Yeah.
then it was alluded to, and again, we never had more than 3 lines about it, that the priest was struggling with his own faith,
Hmm.
and Barlow or Barkov, whatever he's called, calls him into question,
Yeah.
and the crucifix loses all of its power. I'm like, wow, that's a
Yeah.
great idea. And again, it was
But
just
that
like a
also and I like that too, but that also suggests that all the other people's faith is stronger
are
than his.
undoubtedly
Yeah.
loyal to
Yeah.
God.
Right. And
Um,
I didn't get that from them because they're having premarital sex and all types of stuff in it, which is fine,
yeah,
but don't tell me they're, holy rollers at the same time.
no, that the Drifter uh, book writer was not a disciple. Like,
Right.
no,
Yeah, so, like,
or
even
maybe
even a
maybe
broken even a broken priest is gonna have more faith than those people, I think.
I would bet yes. And then there was I'd never seen this before was the rabies shot thing.
Yeah, I thought that was so lame. I thought
I've
that was
never
the
seen that before.
that took me out of it so bad. So what Matt's talking about is there's this one character, I don't even know who she was. Was she a physician or a veterinarian?
She was some doc. No, she was a real doctor, but in the cast I have it up here. She is listed as um sorry. Yeah, Dr. Cody. I don't know.
Yeah.
She was a
And
doctor though. She was at a hospital. Like she was
I don't
legit.
even remember how she even gets introduced into the movie. I don't even remember how that
I
happens.
believe when the first kid gets sick,
Okay.
she's the doctor.
Okay. So she gets bit by a vampire and she's
Yes.
like, "Give me the rabies shot." Like she knows that that's going to cure her. And it does. And it's like, why would a rabies shot cure the vampire magic bite blood thing? Like it's a shot for a virus, like a real virus. Like, are you just
That
saying
you
that
get from like a
vampires are just
bat.
yeah, like are you just saying vampires are just rabid people? Is that like there's way more magic to them than that? Like that was so lame to me. And I was like, well,
And it
why aren't
was
you just carrying
unnecessary because she dies anyway.
right? And why not just get a whole bunch of rabies vaccines and cure everybody instead of killing them? Like they go around killing the entire town because the entire
Yes.
town within a day turns into vampires. And
But then it was proven that like again this was exceptionally dumb because then the girlfriend Susan gets bit
yeah,
and
right.
then writer guy brings her to the church and he's like give her the shot and she's like it's too late, the crucifixes are lighting up, so like okay, so it only works if it's like 15 seconds after.
And how does she
And
know that? She has no
that was
experience with
silly.
vampires.
No, nobody does. I don't.
No, no, not even the not even the priest did.
Not even the priest.
And you know who did? The little boy. He knew everything about the vampires because
Because
he's
he
not
read the
scared of
comic
nothing.
books.
Because he's not
Because
scared of nothing.
he
How
read
do
the
we know?
comic
Because
books.
because they said you're not scared of nothing, are you?
Yeah,
It was
when he
it's
beat
like
up the other kid.
yeah, yeah,
I thought it was. I was saying that he worked because I like that one scene a lot when the rest of the town is clearly in denial, and he goes to the church and he's
Mhm.
like, "Oh, what's up, Father?" And he's like, "What are you doing here?" He's like, "Oh, I'm just stocking up. I'm gonna go kill the vampires. No big deal." I thought that was a good scene. He's got his X-Men thermos that he's putting in
Yeah.
the holy water. Like that was kind of charming, but the
It
rest of
was
it was
it was charming, but I needed to know more about him. Like what I okay,
about anyone.
he beat up a 10-year-old. That doesn't mean he can beat up vampires. I need to know more about him, you know?
Yes.
I need to
It
know that
om-
he's been for the past 3 years, he's been obsessed with vampires, and he knows
yeah.
everything. Like, you gotta give me something.
Like instead of Harry Houdini, he's obsessed with Nosferatu.
Exactly. Perfect. Right? Yeah, because we find out he's obsessed with Harry Houdini and getting out of traps. That never helped him in this, did it? Like,
No, I
the
thought it
his
was. I
ability
thought
yeah, you were waiting for it the whole time. You were waiting for him to get trapped in a situation where he has to
well,
get out
no,
like
he
Harry
did.
Houdini.
Euron Greyjoy did string him up, but he just kind of slipped out of it. It wasn't like a
Oh,
Houdini thing.
yeah.
That's far fetched. The Houdini thing only sets up the last time, the last line, excuse me,
Mhm.
when he
And
says we can escape. I was like, all
yeah.
right,
And then, like, towards the end, I got a very zombie feel to it. Like
yes. When they're
like when
all
they're
kind
at
of
the drive-in movie.
roaming, yeah,
Yeah, when they're in the drive-in movie theaters and they're all kinda just walking towards, the writer and the kid. It was very zombie-like, and I'm like, "I hate zombies. Zombies are not
that
my thing."
zombies do absolutely nothing for me.
Yeah,
That's why
and
I like the one Shaun of the Dead because it just makes fun of how dumb those movies are by and large.
so now at the end of the movie, they go to the drive-in movie theater,
Yes.
and I don't first of all, I don't know why they're in the drive-in movie theater. I can't remember why they were even there.
No, this was actually this was like the most Stephen King part. This was actually kind of clever
Okay.
because
Why'd they go there?
they realized that none of the cars are in the town. Like, why is no one's driving the cars? Why aren't any of them parked on the street? And they
Okay.
realized that to avoid the sunlight, since no one has coffins in their house, they're all hiding in the trunks of the cars because
That's stupid.
I don't know. It was kind of a fun device.
Go in your house. Shut the blinds.
No, because it was
There's
kind of
gotta be a closet. There's gotta be a closet in your house with no windows, Matt.
no, but that's foolproof. That's foolproof.
So is the closet with no windows. There's one right there. I have another one in the hallway with
I
all
don't
my
know.
kids' games in it.
It's a horror movie. It set up something that was kind of cool.
That was stupid. Okay, so that now let's say it's clever. Okay, let's make
Okay.
believe that's a clever usage of vampires, and they need to be in darkness. When they got to the drive-in movie theater, the sun was setting.
Yes, and they all
Right.
got out no matter what. Yes.
So when did they go into the trunks? It's
I
like
think like
6 o'clock. It's like 6 o'clock at night. The sun's going down.
no, they were in there before. That's where like they sleep.
They've been in there since
Since
sunrise, is
six
what you're telling me.
since 6 a yeah,
Since
yes, and sunrise.
they've been in the trunks for 12 hours.
Yeah.
So our protagonists have been safe, completely safe for the past 12 hours. Why didn't they leave town?
Oh, they should have left town immediately. Well, they said that they could leave town, but if they don't stop it now, then it might get worse.
Okay. And I
They
thought the
they
ending was
chose to
so
play
stupid.
they chose to play hero ball, you know?
Yeah.
We'll do it ourselves because we know the answer. There's no point in getting the fucking National Guard or whatever. Because again, no one would
Why?
believe them.
You know how to kill them. You're very good at killing them. And
It was
that was another thing that bothered me. Like our we had like three good guys, right? We had the author, we had his girlfriend, we had the little kid, and we had the teacher, right?
and the priest and the doctor
Yeah, but
and the
they died pretty
butcher
quick.
and the butcher and the baker and the candlestick maker.
The candlestick maker. But like our three main people, the or four main people, the teacher, the author, the girlfriend, and the kid.
Yeah.
They everyone in that town was made into a vampire like that. Like
Yes.
it took seconds for them
Like
to get
3 days,
bit by a
like
vampire.
2 days. Yeah.
You know what I mean? In 2 days,
Two,
the
three
whole
days.
town turned into vampires. there are at least 3 or 4 times where the author is being taken over by 4 vampires and none of them
Yes.
bite him. And
Yes.
he's fighting with them for like 2 to 3 minutes. Like that's a long time to sit there and watch a person fight off 3 heads that are within inches of his neck.
But it's a
And I
Stephen
thought that
King
was
production, and he's
I
the
get it.
author.
I get it.
Now you're
I
seeing why
get
the
it.
author pisses me off. Because you know that the author's just going to be the best one.
Yeah. Yeah. And the girlfriend was able to fight one off here and there.
Yes.
But eventually she got it. I was surprised she got it. But
That was actually shocking. Yeah. And when
yeah,
the teacher got bit, when that was a cool one, when they turn on the light and the vampire bites his
yeah,
neck and crushes that was like the only other
yeah.
cool thing. And it was a cool idea about the big screen getting knocked over. And I mean, it's very contrived, but it was kind of cool.
They should have never gotten out of the trunks, Matt. It was still daylight. You're
No,
telling
the
me the
sun.
vampires are all smart enough to know that they're covered by the screen shadow?
No, but that was
I
the
don't know.
idea, was that it was behind the screen shadow,
It
and then they
was
knocked the screen
so
shadow over.
it was so done for the like if they all read the script. Like all the vampires read the script and
Oh,
they
so we
knew
die now.
yes, right, right. It's like the more I talk about this movie, the less I like it. Like
I mean,
I
there's not
turned it
much to
off and
like.
I turned it off and I was like, you know what? This wasn't so bad. It was cool. It looked cool. Like they nailed the 70s. You know, they got the time era right. They got like none of the actors were offensively bad. Um the special effects weren't overdone, I don't think. They weren't too overdone. They were just about right. Like if it was, any more like CGI'd or anything, I don't know if I would have liked it. But I thought it was okay. And it was, just a stupid little vampire movie. And and it was fine. Like, but now, like, the more I think about it, like, I didn't like this. Didn't like this at all.
I did not. It's fine. That's it.
Yeah. I wouldn't see it again. I wouldn't watch it
There's
again.
not
Like,
really one person on the planet I would be like, oh, you should watch this.
one of our listeners told us to watch this. It's the only reason I watched it was because BX Gunner 81, who spoke to us at length on a couple of the other live shows, was like, "Oh, you gotta watch Salem's Lot. Gotta watch Salem's Lot." And I was like, "All right, I'll give
Sorry,
it a
what?
shot."
BX Gunner 81.
Yeah, he was the user in the chat last 2 weeks.
We're gonna have to educate this man.
Oh, I'm gonna bring it up tomorrow night for sure. He'll be there. He'll be there. He's one of Seb's buddies. I mean, I listen. I had a fun 2 hours watching it or whatever it was. I'm not pissed off that I watched it, but it's not something I'm gonna rewatch. It's not Halloween. It's not The Omen.
No.
It's
You
not
get that picture
Insidious.
of me and Seb, by the way, when I went to go meet him?
I do. Do you want me to show it?
He was pretty
I have
sick,
it.
right? Just the
Pretty
boys
sick.
hanging out
Is you on the you and him on the golf
on my
cart?
golf cart. Yeah.
I have it here. Let me show it.
For all
I
the
gotta
good
stop
people at
that.
home.
Yeah. Here it is. Look at these two guys.
Yeah,
Just
just hanging
enjoying
out.
life. Just enjoying life. Mets are up. Stubby fell asleep
So-
that night. That was it. That was it. But
Dude, he's gonna love me next season.
is he?
Yeah,
He's
dude, I'm
gonna
gonna
get
get
more free
him.
parking.
I can get him tickets.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
I can
Maybe
get
I'll come up during the baseball season and get me free tickets and we can hang out.
I got you, man.
We're coming up
100%.
for I'm going to be up there for the Oasis concert in September. September 1st. They should still be playing ball by then. Of course they are.
Yeah, they have to, yeah.
Yeah, they got to
Even
be.
if they've lost every single game, they'll still be playing
Right,
ball.
they'll still be playing. They'll still be playing. But all right. So I think that's going to do it for Salem's Lot. Out of 5 stars, I give it a 2.
2
Dose. Yeah. All right,
What are
2
you gonna
popcorn
do?
buckets. 2 popcorn buckets.
2 buckets.
Yeah, it could be. Hey, it could be worse. I've seen lots of ones.
And
I've seen
listen,
lots of ones.
this is not like an offensive movie. It's not.
No.
It's just fine.
It's not woke. It's none of that stuff.
No,
There's no girl power in it or anything like that. It was,
but based on the brand of the show, it's like we almost have to reward it more for just being right down the line. But I just can't. It was just not interesting.
Yeah, I really needed to know more about the characters. There was zero character development. I
All
didn't
right,
care about any of them.
who
I
would
didn't care about
you
Susan.
who would you lose?
What do you mean?
So
Who
there's
would I cut out?
Susan. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
Susan. There's the writer. Let's treat it like it's the intro
Y You don't
to
need
Gilligan.
Susan.
No, it's
You
like
don't
the
need
intro
Susan
to the
at all.
Gilligan's Island. You have the secretary, the writer, the priest, the kid, the doctor. Who would you cut? And the teacher. So there's six. There's six principal characters. I think you could lose. I think I take the priest and the kid, and that's it.
I would keep the author. I would keep the kid,
Okay.
and I think that's it. I didn't need anybody else.
I'd rather have Susan than the author.
But what did Susan add to the movie other than just being a love interest for the guy? He kills her in the end.
She's a connection to the town.
But he's a connection to the town. Like, you
He's
don't need any more
not,
connections to the
though.
town. He is. He grew up
No.
there.
I'd rather take her and her neurotic mother, who's like a townie, like a townie psycho. I'd take her and the mother and the kid and the priest.
You want to keep everybody. You want to keep them all.
I don't care. Don't care about the doctor or the teacher or the writer. And I really don't care about Susan. I don't care. I'd rather take the priest and the kid, make it a Catholic school.
Okay.
And the priest is struggling with his faith, and
the
then
kid helps him gain his faith back.
And the kid helps him gain his faith back. And the kid's friends die. Both of his friends. And also, no one cared about any of them.
No one cared. No one cared.
They died so brutally. They got abducted, like walking home. Like they walked they're going like 4 blocks, and it's like, oh my god, Ryan died. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
That's crazy. And then his brother died like the next night. It's like, oh shit, that stinks. Yeah. What the hell?
Yeah, that was rough. No,
yeah, I'll take the kid and the priest.
I would
take
the author.
The priest, the teacher. You can make him one. You can make him one.
That's true. Yeah, I could do without the teacher, even though he was probably my favorite character. But I didn't need him in the movie.
Give me one characteristic, a character trait that isn't like stoic or brave.
Right.
Does he have any hair?
He's got a Boston Red Sox jacket, a sweet Red Sox jacket.
Dude, he loves the Sox. Well, we don't.
Yeah. I saw this great meme today of Boston coffee drinkers versus New York coffee drinkers.
Mm-hmm.
And the Boston guys are drinking iced coffee, and the New York guys are drinking hot coffee in 95-degree weather, and they're just making fun. It was a good meme. It was a pretty good meme.
This is one guy I follow. He's a big Red Sox guy.
Yeah.
And he goes to Fenway Park. And you're a hot dog. You like a hot dog every now and then, right?
Well, everyone loves a good wiener.
What's your condiment of choice?
Ketchup.
Oh, he's such a baby.
Okay. You eat hot dogs for the shape, not the taste.
You're an adult. You got to use mustard.
Ugh, I hate mustard. Mustard makes me puke in my mouth.
Oh. Anyway,
just the smell of it.
Even like a spicy brown mustard.
No, I'll do honey mustard, but not on a hot dog.
That sounds like a chicken tender.
I'm a hot dog. Would you eat me? You ever see that? You have to watch Saturday Night Live. Harry Carey. You don't even know who Harry Carey is.
I know who Harry Carey is.
Oh, you do? Then you got to.
I know who that is, but I don't know this.
Will Ferrell. Will Ferrell does Harry Carey.
Yes, he does. I know that.
Gotta watch it. Yeah.
But there's a guy there's a guy from Boston, and he's like basically Peter Griffin in real life.
Oh.
And he's like, whoever got golden spicy brown removed from the hot dogs at Fenway Park, you're not the worst guy, but you're up there. It always makes me laugh.
Fenway Park.
I love making fun of Boston people. As 2 New York guys.
Yeah.
Anti-Boston podcast.
There you go. Well, we can run that one.
Yeah, throw that banner down there. We don't like Boston. My brother lives in Boston too.
Does he?
Yeah.
Well, sorry to hear that. I met a guy the other day from Boston. He was a Bruins fan. I think that's fine.
I hate the Bruins.
Well, he was very happy to hear I wasn't a Rangers fan.
I'm a
He was
Rangers
happy
fan.
about that. I know
But
you
you're a
are.
Devils guy. It sucks.
I am. I am. Yeah. That's
They look
okay.
pretty good this year.
No, they don't. No, they don't. They're
They're
way
they're the
overhyped.
you know they're the second favorite to win the cup on like betting apps.
People are on drugs. I have no idea. Every time I see that, I'm like, what team are they looking at? Like, do they have the right roster in front of them? 'Cause, dude, I'll be surprised if they make the playoffs.
There are 3 teams in that division better than the Devils, and it's the Rangers, the Panther, not the Panthers, the Hurricanes. No, maybe only 2.
Philly, Washington. We can't beat Washington ever. Anyway, that's a whole nother podcast.
That's a whole nother
But
podcast.
yeah, but 2 popcorn buckets out of 5 for Salem's lot.
Do we
Give it a
want to do
watch if
Matt's
you.
match of the week too?
Oh yeah, let's do Matt's match of the week.
All right.
If
So
y'all don't know what Matt's match of the week is, Matt here is a single young man who's on dating
Yes.
apps, and he gets
Several.
several matches. Oh, you're on several dating apps. So
Several
which
dating apps.
which app are we going to dive into today, Matt?
Let's see what I got. I got one today that I saved for this episode specifically.
Okay, now the game is he has to write exactly what I tell him to,
verbatim,
and we have to
Okay,
follow it up on the next episode.
I think we're gonna. So are we 0-1 officially? Is the official
We're
tally?
0-1 officially. Yeah, the last time the girl said, "Tell me something about Star Wars."
There's something about Star Wars, but just to say how bad it was.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We ended the episode. It was probably like 11:30, like 12 o'clock. She had unadded, which is the dating app equivalent of blocked.
Yes.
By 6:30 in the morning.
As soon as she woke up, she saw that.
As soon as she woke up and saw it and said, "Never with this guy, anything ever at all once."
You're welcome. I did you a favor.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So this is Isabel. She says the way to win her.
Already bad move.
Why? Why is that?
It's my mother-in-law's name. Oh. But all right, go ahead.
She says the way to win me over is having a sense of humor and lots of energy. She's from Kips Bay. She goes crazy for great food, and she wants to be taught something about a different perspective. She went to college at the University of South Carolina, and she is 22 years old. What do you have to say, Maverick? Magic Mav.
Magic Mav.
And she because I liked her comment that she likes a sense of humor and a lot of energy.
Okay. She says she wants to learn a different perspective.
Yeah, it's very.
And she's from the South.
She's from New York, but she went to school in the South. And now she lives in Kips Bay.
Okay. Hey, Bella.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because her name's Isabella, right?
I can't even correct you if it's a typo. I mean, this is the rules.
But her name is Isabella, right?
Is Isabel.
Isabel. Hey, Isabella. No, hey, Bella. We're gonna go with it. Okay. Hey, Bella.
I'm with you.
This is now. You got to make sure, and I don't want to ruin like a potential wife here. So like pick a match that you're not afraid to lose. Okay.
Yeah, that's also part of my criteria. I'm already on that.
Yeah. Like don't pick an 11 out of 10 and have me ruin it. Like pick a solid 4 or 5, and then we can mess around with it.
I'm aware.
Hey, Bella. She seems boring to me.
I think so too.
Boring to me. She does. She seems kind of boring. What are her likes besides like make her laugh? What are her likes?
Great food.
Great food. Okay.
I would love it. What do I go crazy for? Bad food. I want things that taste bad. Yeah. How interesting.
Hey, Bella. She went to school with North Carolina?
South Carolina. Go Cox.
South Carolina. Hey, Bella. How about them Cox?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Type it.
Yeah, I'm there. Type it.
Let me see what. Let me see what their record is.
They're like 500, I think, or maybe one game below.
Okay, they are 2-3 in the conference, 4-3 overall.
Dude, that is a fun school. I've been there a lot of times.
Hey Bella, the how about them cocks? Did you write that?
Yeah.
Um,
You can't get over that one detail. You're so immature.
I'm
You can't get over that one
I'm
thing.
trying to I'm trying to think of something clever. I'm sure they'll turn it around eventually.
Is that a comma or a new sentence?
No, how about them cocks? Exclamation point.
Okay, Elaine. Exclamation point.
Exclamation point.
I'm sure they'll turn it around.
Eventually this season.
Okay.
How about me and you grab some tapas?
Oof.
Yeah, that's right. And gain a new perspective on
Sucks.
Spanish food.
I'm gonna get banned from this app for having no game. And on
Wait,
Spanish
wait.
food. Okay.
Spanish
I haven't
food.
sent it.
Sincerely. The
Oh,
Rizzler. The Rizzler.
that won't. No.
Do it. You have to do it.
Sincerely, the Rizzler.
The
Okay.
Rizzler. Yes.
Do I have to like format it like
Oh.
with the sincerely? Is that like with like a letter? Like it's like
Yes.
indent?
Sincerely,
Okay.
comma, the Rizzler.
Fuck me. Okay.
Oh, God. She said she likes to laugh, so let's see if
Wow,
this
this is just the worst.
take a
Okay.
screenshot of it too.
I
So
sent
that
yeah, I'm one set ahead of you. Oh my gosh. All right, I sent it to you. Just throw that on the board. This
oh,
is the worst ever.
can we throw it on
Wow,
the board
this
now? Okay.
yeah, throw it on the board.
I didn't get the there it is.
That's exactly what you wanted, correct?
Hey Bella,
Oh
how
my
about them cocks?
god.
I'm sure they'll turn it around eventually this season. How about you and me grab some tapas and gain a new perspective on Spanish food? Sincerely, the Rizzler. There it is, folks. We're gonna put this live on the air tomorrow. I'm gonna download that. I'll
You know,
put it on the board tomorrow.
when I was getting ready for the show and my mom saw me grab a couple beers from the fridge, she's like, "Why do you need that for the podcast?" I'm like, "Just wait till the end."
So yeah, do me a favor, send me a picture of Isabella so I know what we're working with here. If you can.
Okay,
If you
but
can't,
please, but don't,
if it's
but
one of no, I won't
I
do anything.
no, I can, but
If
just don't put her
it's one of
under
those
the
apps,
gun.
no, I won't do that. If it's going to be one of those apps where you're going to get kicked off for screenshotting or anything like that,
No,
worry
they
about
don't
it.
do that shit. I also don't
No,
care. This is not a way to meet people properly.
no. All right, well let's end the show on that because
Wait, I just
that
sent
was a
you the
lot of
picture.
fun. Oh, all right, let's see here. Oh, she's all right.
Yeah,
She has a little psycho look to her though.
yeah.
I don't like those shoes.
Neither do I.
Not a big fan of the wedge.
That's what it should have been. Hey, Isabella, how about those cocks? Not
Okay,
a big fan of the win.
next time, hold on. We got to change the rules. The next time we do this, I need to see the picture first.
Okay, I'll send. Next time is tomorrow. You're all doing it tomorrow.
Yes, we're all going to do this tomorrow. The way to win me over is have a sense of humor. Dude, I think my comment is full of sense of humor and energy. There's an exclamation point. There's the energy,
Mm-hmm.
right? We have sexual innuendos. That's
Yep.
in there. That's fun, right? What else? What other humor we got? We got tapas food, right? The
There's
Rizzler.
sincerity.
You don't get much funnier than the Rizzler. You know,
Except I'm not the Rizzler.
I had to explain that to kids. Like kids were like, "Oh, Riz this, Riz that," and I'm like, "What's Riz mean?" And like, "Oh, well, he's got a lot of Riz. He gets a lot of girls." I'm like, "Charisma? Like, are you just
Yes,
shortening
charisma.
charisma?" And they're like,
Yes.
"Oh, I guess we are." I was like, "You fucking
Oh my God,
morons!"
Mr. Maverick, you so smart.
Exactly. That's exactly how it went down, Mr. Maverick.
Mr.
All
Maverick.
right. On
Holy
that
cow,
note,
Mr. Maverick.
I'm Magic
Yeah.
Mav. He's Matt.
Yeah.
Thanks for sticking around for the popcorn bucket, everybody. We'll see you next time.